You had a cancer scare, or not even a
Yeah.
scare, you had
No, I
cancer.
no, I had
Yeah.
I had cancer. It was, like, so crazy, in 2023. So in 2022, I had pervasive itching in my left breast. As a clinician, I know that itching that doesn't subside can be a sign of cancer. I had multiple mammograms, nothing showed up. And then when I had my annual mammogram, there were calcifications. That was in May. And they told me that I couldn't get a biopsy until July. And so I called my friends and
Mhm.
I got my biopsy in
Good.
like 4 days. And in 3 weeks, I was
Oh,
on an
wow.
operating table. And all of my doctor friends, like, they made the appointments, they did everything for me and pushed me through the system. And I will say, my investors, I have great investors. I know that's not like the typical experience that people have with investors. And, like, let's get straight, like, investors want 10x return. However, my investors looked me in the face and they were like, hey, whatever bills you get, you give
Yeah.
them to us. This should not
Wow.
be taking up space in your brain, like my lead
Mhm.
investors. I didn't need that, right? I have good health insurance, and I was just like, wow, think about all these people who don't have this. They don't have high health literacy. They don't have investor backing. People don't maybe value them, right? I'm useful to the
Yeah.
investors, so it behooves them if I stay alive.
Yeah.
uh, and that I think about on a daily basis. Like, I am very,
Mhm.
very lucky. Um, and life is really short. So if it doesn't bring you joy, don't
Yeah.
fucking do it, guys.
Yes.
Are you in the clear
I'm
now?
in the clear. I had a scan in
Amazing.
November. I'm totally fine. I'm emotionally still a little bit messed up, but it's like a
Yeah.
year
Yeah,
out.
it's still
So yeah,
very
I
fresh.
think
It's
it'll
very
get
fresh.
better.
Fresh.
Can
Yeah.
we go back to
Yeah,
the
it'll get better.
itching? Because at this point in my life, I've never heard that as a symptom. Will you share a little bit more about that? Was it topical itching? Like just
Yeah. So it's itching that's so pervasive, and you're itching and it doesn't
okay.
subside. Right? Like, because if you have an itch and then you itch it,
Yeah.
then it goes away. Should, right? This was like, I'm sitting on my couch when everyone is in bed, like, just itching, waking up in the middle of the
Wow.
night, itching. And, like, this kind of woo woo, but looking in the mirror, being like, I definitely have cancer. Like, can
Yeah.
someone care? So this can't, it's HER2 triple positive, most well researched, treatments are curative, slow moving, but very aggressive, meaning, had I missed a
Yeah.
mammogram, had I not asked questions, maybe I wouldn't have as many choices as I did being at an earlier
So
stage.
is
So
that itching,
Mhm.
is that something that's just directly related normally to breast cancer, or is that something you have to watch in other parts of your body as well?
that could be any kind of cancer,
I've never
actually,
heard that.
right? Like, yeah. So that can come
Okay.
anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
never
it's
heard
good
that
that
either,
we're hearing it
actually.
now because
Yeah.
now we can share it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Pay
Yeah, for
attention.
Mm.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I am a huge believer in that your body gives signs, and too many people ignore the signs, but that was just something I had not put two and two together.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your story. We're so
Yeah.
happy and grateful that you are cancer
Yeah.
free.
Vanessa, how did you get to this point? So, like, you were a history major, your parents, I mean, like, take me back a little bit on, like, how did you get to this point where, I mean, this was something you wanted to do?
Yeah.
And I read in your article, Bon Appetit, amazing, by the way. You said that somebody listened to you. Was that part of kind of your
Yeah,
story?
like, I never had a problem with my weight. I want to tell everyone that, like, the immigrant mother is the mother that is always doing your laundry and making your food. Like, the day that I was leaving for college, my mom was folding my clothes. I did not know how to do laundry till my roommate in college taught me. And when my roommate in college made me macaroni and cheese in a crock pot, I was like, "Oh, your mother does not love you. What is this?" This is I don't know. My parents would drive food to me. I went to Fordham. I didn't live far. My parents didn't live far away, and they would bring me food because I'd be like, I don't know what's going on here, and I didn't know anything about food. Someone was always bringing me food. If my mom was traveling, my parents weren't around, I'd just call an aunt, and they'd come and bring it for me. I never
Wow.
had pizza on Fridays unless I went to a friend's house. So then, when my parents unleashed me in the South Bronx in the 90s, and there was Sbarro and White Castle, and I could do whatever I want as it related to food. I did that. And so I gained 50 pounds, which is
Mm.
crazy. And then after college, my parents, I was like, hey, can I get an apartment? They're like, no, you can get a job and save your money and get your own apartment. So I had to move back home, and I didn't make a lot of money. And so obviously I had to take my food from home that my parents,
Mm.
they were like, hey, we'll provide you a place to live and provide you food. And so I lost 50 pounds very easily, right? I was in my 20s. I went back to eating food. There wasn't, beer on the menu every day.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. What are you eating at home? Like, what is your Haitian mom making you that's not, I mean, I can imagine it's like
Yeah.
scrumptious, but like you're not eating the macaroni and cheese, but I'm sure it's still
Hmm.
like
Yeah. So it's
yumalicious.
right. There's rice and beans on the stove right now.
Oh,
I'm not at my mother's and
okay.
father's house right now. My mother maybe is making lasagna right now, but there's always rice and beans because maybe you don't like lasagna. The thing is that I didn't eat processed foods as a kid.
Mhm.
Never.
Yeah.
My mother smokes cigarettes
Yeah.
at 75. There's nothing wrong with her because the woman doesn't eat processed food. Just doesn't. Like,
Mhm.
she's like, I'm in
Mhm.
America where there's food all the time. My parents talk about this all the time. Doesn't matter how rich you are in Haiti, there's no infrastructure. So if a rainstorm comes and washes away food, washes away the the bridge, then there's no way for the trucks to come and bring you food. So everybody is impacted. Where here that's not the case. And so my mother is so
Mhm.
happy that she can just drive down and buy the food that she wants and cook it for her family. And so I just very
Mhm.
easily lost weight. And then I was like, oh, I wonder how that happened. So I went to a dietitian, and she told me in a very pragmatic way, like, hey, if you want to lose weight, you do it this way. She didn't take anything away from me. She just told me how to do it. And then I learned a little bit
Mhm.
more that it was medicine adjacent, which is something that I really like. I really liked working in the hospital. I like medicine. I'm interested in the change of science. And I learned I could do my
Mhm.
internship in a hospital. And I was like, oh, this sounds awesome. So I'm going to go do
Mhm.
it. And that's how I got here.